Hello everybody, welcome to today's tutorial. Today I'm going to be emphasizing the structure tree and the different options that are available when you right mouse button over components or solids. So I'm going to start off and open up this assembly, which is conveniently enough named assembly. So looking at it, I have that brass cover and I have a fixture plate below it. So right now the solid doesn't have a component. So to create one, I can right mouse button on a component and create a new one. So now we have the brass cover, we have component with nothing in it. So I can drag this solid into a component, and now it's there. So once there, it's active because I just created it. So one thing I maybe want to do is rename that. So let's call it fixture. So once I've renamed it, I want you to notice that it's bold right now. And that's because that's the active component. So what that basically says is that I can only pull on that component. Notice I go right through the brass cover here and straight to the top surface. So now I can only select there, I can pull it up or down. And notice when I pulled the one component into the other, or the solid into the other solid, they didn't get combined together. So the solids will only combine when they're in the same component. So the interesting thing that I can do, however, is reference the geometry on that component. So if I want to pull it up to the bottom of the cover, I can pick that surface and pull it up to it. So next let's make the top level active. So I also wanted to show one I missed was collapsing the entire assembly and expanding it. But one thing I maybe want to do here is to create some more support for this fixture. So let's go in and sketch a quick rectangle on either side. We'll pull it out to about here and create one on the other side. So now when I hit pull, notice that the surface was created under assembly because that's the active component right now. So if I select and try to pull it up, normally I would guess that that material would be added to the fixture on the bottom. But notice when I pull it, there's two solids under the active component. So it's really important which component is active when you're making your overall assembly. So there's two things that I could do here. If I could combine them together, but watch when I select the green component first, which is located here. Everything gets combined into that component or into that solid. So notice if I pick the blue one first, which is under our fixture assembly here, the solids under assembly are combined into fixture. So that's an important thing to note while modeling. Another thing I could have done is drag the surface into fixture. Making that active now will make this surface be automatically merged into that solid. And let's pull everything up to this top level, just to make it a little bit more even. So another thing that I can do, we will make the top level active again, and we'll insert in some bolts. So we'll bring this up, and actually it's coming in from ASUS. So I'll bring it in. So now instead of creating or inserting more bolts, I'll just copy that component. By selecting the entire component in the structure tree and doing a control move, I can quickly copy them, which is the same as inserting them in several times. So now that I have them all copied, I want you to notice something here. So they're all labeled bolt and it's the same component, so when I make a change to one, it changes all of them at the same time, because it thinks you're using standard parts, so why would you want to change one and not change the rest? So there's several things you can do here. One thing is to use an internal copy. So basically that takes the geometry you're referencing or the components you're referencing and brings it into this assembly. So now that this is an internal copy, it's different from the other ones, so I can modify one and not modify the rest. But if I internalize another one, we get that same problem, where I change one and they both change or update. So another way you can differentiate components is by making one independent. So that basically renames the component in your structure tree to bolt.2. And now I can change one and not modify the others. So another thing here, we'll look at fixture, is that I can make it always visible. So what does that mean? So making it always visible puts black boxes here. So if you have components on different layers, let's say, so this is on the fixture layer, I can try to hide that layer, but it doesn't hide. It's still visible because it's always visible. But if I check this off and bring it back, we can't see it because I hid that layer. So let's go back and make that visible. So one of the last things you can do here is delete components, which is pretty self-explanatory. Or one other thing I didn't show was loading components. So this will allow you to load components in if you brought them in as lightweight. So this is useful for large assemblies and you only want to work on certain parts of it. So the last thing I'll show today is properties. So clicking on properties brings you to the window where you can enter in category, content status, description, keywords, or language, and you can use that to generate key fields in the model or in the drawing. Another thing you can do here is change the material type. Maybe we'll change this to steel, and you can put in a density. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been helpful in working with parts in an assembly. Thank you very much.